Hello, hello. We are back again for another interview with a Wet Ink Games collaborator for a Wet Ink Wednesday. And this time I'm joined by Matthias Bonnici, who is a graphic designer. And Matthias, tell us about what else you do. Like, is that your only title? Like, what kind of other titles do you hold? Like, what do you describe yourself as?
I'm a graphic designer with 25 years experience. I'm a game designer. I have one game published and another one going to be coming out later in the year with you guys. I'm also a published author and a accidental um, because I was one of the writers on Kids on Bike. So, uh, that's really it. I'm a giant, you know, I read a lot. I'm a giant Macross nerd, and
Yeah, you point
that
behind
pretty much
you.
covers me.
You point behind you, but you've got your background blurred out, so no one can see how much of a Macross nerd you are. But they'll just have to take your word for it.
Oh God, the apartment's a mess, so the blur is a lot cleaner.
but
Uh,
I mean, do you want to how is that like your origin story as a nerd? Like, is Macross and the giant robot stuff like, is that a later love, or has that always been like the thing for you?
so I got into, for me, my nerddom started in with Star Wars and Alien and science fiction movies. Um, and primarily, what got me into graphic design was movie posters. I've always wanted to make movie posters. I looked at a lot of them on the walls in the 80s, and they were some of them were horrible, some of them were fantastic. You got like The Last Starfighter, just makes you want to go and see the film. Yet you look at the Wraith, it's just three kids looking down the side of the road, which has absolutely nothing to do with the film, and they wonder why the film bombs. It just it's things like that that made me really want to get into graphic design because I wanted to make these things that caught people's eyes, made them come and get it. And I get to do that with box covers for games, especially in the industry. Like I've done book covers, I've done full games. So, but yeah, giant robots are my absolute love. Super Metal Targets Macross has been my love since like 1984 till now, and it's a very expensive love, much to my wife's chagrin. So,
uh well, I guess you can always take heart that it's not cocaine or something like that.
yeah, so
uh with the movie Cocaine Bear, I think that is fresh in theaters. I think that's where that comes from. Uh,
I I just saw someone do Fozzie the Bear as Scarface and did Cocaine Bear with it. It was amazing.
all right, nice mashup there. Nice mashup.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So you said 25 years experience, which is incredible to me. I don't think I have 25 years of experience in just about anything. Um, what is the route into that? Like 25 years is goes back to like, I mean, that's like I mean, like that's like Apple, not Apple IIe, but that's like the like Q. I mean, I remember I had the Mac Lab when I was in art school. It had all the colored
Mm.
Macs that were all, everybody was goo goo over the suite of like you get a red one or a yellow one or whatever. But like you probably went to school even before that. So was that your schooling, or did you kind of like stumble into graphic design from the movie posters?
I, so I accidentally got like a large deal of my history and graphic design is accidental. I'm dyslexic, so I was putting in numbers at college for life drawing, and I transposed a couple of numbers, and I ended up with animation with the Macintosh, which was Director Photoshop 4 and Illustrator, I think 3. And I ended up going to class because I thought I was slick. I put it down correctly. Good. Get my schedule. Completely different um, class. But I ended up acing the class and teaching the class next semester. Um, and then,
Wow, that's a real sliding
uh,
doors moment. That's pretty cool.
well, likewise with board game design, I got into that by accident because one of my friends put up on Facebook this little chit that had information on it, and the information management was so bad that I like, all right, look, send me this. I'll refix this. So I fixed that, and then I saw the logo for the game, and that was also so bad that I had to redesign it. And then I ended up doing two of his other games right after that because I was trying to, you know, save him, save the poor graphic design.
So so what kind of stuff do you do the day job? Is it stuff like that, like management of text, logos? Is that like your bread and butter all day long for whoever
Um,
the client happens to be?
yeah. Well, no, I don't do freelance for my 9 to 5. I am I work for Altec Lansing. I'm the lead designer for Altec Lansing, Iowa. Also Realtree, and I also do a lot of work with um, Vivitar and Sakar, which is the parent company to Altec. So daily, I'm working in making packaging for headphones, boom boxes, portable radios, a lot of Bluetooth stuff. So my 9 to 5 is me doing very uh, boring graphic design, but necessary. Um,
Right.
I get my creative outlet with the board game design industry. I really do. Because with my 9 to 5, you make the same box every day, but you put a different product in it and it just has a different name. That's really what that becomes. With graphic design, every other project is a brand new design style, brand new logo, brand new art. With you guys, I've worked with like, Kwanchan Mori. I've gone through his files. It just was immaculate. Um, I've got to work with, Steven. I got to work with you guys. I got to work with new artists all the time, get a new feel. And it's really rewarding to see those projects come together.
Well, that's yeah, it's pretty neat. And you talked about the design files and like or like going through you've mentioned before going through Quanchai's layers of like his art that he all the layers that it takes to get that finished look that he does. Um I don't necessarily want to I think you'll quickly go deeper than I have any ability to respond to, but like I do want to invite you to kind of talk about some of those like details about the design process and stuff that's really there for the design nerds, like
Mm,
what makes a good design of anything, a headphone box or a movie poster or a a player token that has information on it. What are some of those principles? I mean, don't give away any industry secrets, you got to keep your
yeah,
job, but I mean, like, what do you look for in a good design? What do you try to do to make it good?
I try to make it clean. Well, it matters what the project is. Um, for um, Jingsha, there was a definite feel that you guys asked me to go for. A lot of it is a conversation with the clients, mainly because I don't want to go out and make like this entire thing, and then you guys be like, we weren't going that direction, we're going this direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which honestly has happened to me in the past because I was too over eager on a project and started before the conversation starts. Um, but I try to get the feel of the project into like the logo, like you can't get everything into the logo, but you can get an introduction. It's basically the handshake, and then it's got to complement the artwork and the place. Like you guys had a conversation with Quanchai beforehand on where you wanted to have the logo placed. So at least I knew where I was building into, what shapes I can work with, mainly because I don't want to detract from the artwork at all. I want to just complement it. And a lot of things with graphic design is having all the pieces complement each other into a cohesive message. Um, every aspect of Jingsha complements each other. Each book, you could put them next to each other and know that they went together. Each
Mhm.
portion of the game, each piece, you can tell that this game goes together, and that's the my job is to make a cohesive project that you take one piece and you can be like, oh, that's from that game, and you can do that a lot. Like if you look at Return to Dark Tower, every single piece of their graphic design has a cohesive magnetic pull to each other. It really, and that's what every graphic designer is trying to do. Sometimes you have a client that wants a specific message that, even though as a graphic designer, isn't the one that you know will work best, but they're the client, and that's where you get things like the Wraith movie post over The Last Starfighter. You know,
Right. They're like, but we have this picture of these kids in this road, like whatever. It was cheap to buy this piece of art or whatever, like, yeah.
yeah, and
Uh,
we see that in some graphic design now. Like you'll go on Kickstarter and you look at the title cards for each Kickstarter, and you'll see who has a real feel for their project, as opposed to who was just trying to put something out quickly. And you can see that as you go through. It's the same thing in the bookstore. You go through a bookstore, you can see which books were higher priority on the publisher's list while others were lower.
mhm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, there's so many avenues to discuss there, and as somebody who is on I've done the writing, I've done the publishing, but uh, side of things, the production, sort of like been part of those conversations about, like, do we want the title at the top or we want that at the bottom, what it's going to look like on the shelf, those kind of things. um I the I don't even know where my question was going with that, but like the the that cohesive whole is uh so important. I guess that is sort of like you said, it's the handshake at the beginning of the meeting, right? Like we always
mhm,
say that, like, the piece of art, um if the cover of the book is getting the people to stop and pick up the book, then the cover is doing its job, and part of that cover is the title of the product. You want it to be there,
mhm.
and you want the title to look better than if you typed it in an Arial font and just put it on the cover, like, I mean, unless that's the feel you're going for. But it does communicate so much, just in that. Like, I know Psychic Kids is kind of the current project, and that's kind of why I'm doing the interview with you now for that particular project. But it's got that sort of, ethereal sort of feel to it, or whatever, with the, it fades into the edges, the text for the title fades out. It's like a slash through reality or something, almost. I don't know, how do you describe what effects you did with that particular thing?
So I went through all the artwork originally that you guys had made, and the artwork is fantastic. Um,
Yeah, hopefully going to get Sarah
and
on
as
here to talk about it soon. uh,
oh yeah, her artwork is fantastic. And I looked at what she did, the borders that she did, the colors she used, and once I saw the cover that was designed, it reminded me of, and also the era that you guys want to have this in, stage this in the 1980s.
right. uh,
I remember
90s.
there was oh, nice. Anything that had a cell phone, I just put back into the 80s. That's all. Um,
Sure.
so I remember the Corey Haim film, Watchers. I forgot who was the original writer for the film, but it had a similar font. A lot of those earlier films did you have the white text and then the glow behind it, and it was supposed to be like that creepyish glow, and it was something that I remember in the original advertisement for Firestarter, they did the same thing,
Mm,
and it was very much like some of the artwork that I created for the Kickstarter was very much influenced by a lot of what I read in Firestarter with the um, oh God, what was that place called? The company, and they had a lot of it had a lot of the same feel when we were talking about the overall feel of the facility, and so that also influenced the design of that logo. Um, I, I I like the I guess sketchy feel of the font, and then with the glow, it gave it a little bit more power. And then you had the kids with the hands out, and it all seemed to flow very well. And
yeah,
then you had the art direction to put the more power lines around certain aspects, and that actually built more of an informed and final piece.
yeah. I mean the
So,
cover it it does that's that those lines that the almost outlines, almost borders kind of thing that are
mhm,
part of the original art that because the art has sort of I mean, I don't know, we're not going to like swipe across the screen right now or anything like that, but it's got this sort of like Byzantine art icon sort of aspect to it, so it's got these gold lines around it. But then yeah, you've worked to bring that into the card deck and into the cover of the book and stuff like that, so it does have that, like you were talking about with any product that you look at any of the pieces and they've all got that same repeating pattern or whatever, or similar themes, I guess, that unify the product into a whole, even though we've got art from a couple different sources, um, plus your graphic design for the cards and stuff, but they are all unified. So it is a whole process. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much. We don't have a infinite amount of time on the call. There's so much to talk about. The uh, is there a you mentioned sort of having inspirations from from movie posters to other things. Is there like a graphic designer? Do you go to like certain, like, oh, these what's the library, right? Like all artists are pulling from inspirations from people, so what are some of the libraries, quote unquote, that you go to like get inspiration from, like movie posters or like these old books? Does it depend on the project,
mhm.
or is there some place that you find yourself going back to frequently?
Well, sometimes it matters. It does matter from project to project. Uh, like with Zhengshe, I went back and looked at a lot of 1920s to 1930s um, photos of Chinese food restaurants, both in Canada and at the time mostly in Los Angeles and the West Coast, because it really didn't proliferate across the states yet too much, and it was there's specific aspects of like borders and font designs that um, was directly inspired by these black and white photos.
Mm-hmm.
For other things, like I've backed so many role-playing game books on Kickstarter that I think are interesting in design and layout, that I have a copy here so that I can go back and look at things and figure out how they did certain things, what certain inspirations were. Other things just because they're just cool. Like I have the all of the books for the Alien role-playing game because the graphic design is immaculate. Not enough illustrations, mind you, in my personal taste, but it's extremely well done. Like every aspect of it and every ancillary part of it is extremely well done. At the same time, I buy a ton of art books on. I have like every Penguin book that was published over the past 100 years in book form, like in a book, just so I have every single cover for idea. I buy a lot of art books. Like I have all the art books for Blade Runner from the original to 2049 to Black Lotus. I because they have so much design aesthetic built into it. like all the background stuff will be in these books that you wouldn't normally look at. I have
Mm.
all the books for Dune. I have all the books for like Destiny. And I'll go walking through a bookstore and just take photos of book covers. Um, and usually that's how I choose my books is whatever has the best looking book cover in the science fiction section, I'll end up probably reading. Um,
Sure, because we can't help but judge books by their covers sometimes.
yeah, well, that's what we're paid to do. I have hundreds and hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays that I'll look at a cover or, and it helps. Like if you look out your window or if you look anywhere, a graphic designer has touched every single thing that has some sort of visual style to it or a font on it or something else. And you could walk around and there people will put out these amazing stickers that they'll just throw on anything to tag it. And it's extremely well done. I have photos and photos and photos of all of those stickers, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
it's like whatever definitely like that sort of, I don't know, Gonzo street style or whatever is, yeah, just stick it, make a sticker and stick it on the thing and then walk on, it's certainly
yeah, when we were
that kind of thing. Do you I mean, there you're talking about, we talked before about pleasing the client, like in that case, like the client is you're the person
mhm.
making the stickers to stick on the bus station or whatever. What kind of uh
Oh,
oh
I got mine here.
well, officially don't stick stickers on bus stations.
Yeah.
The but what kind of, is there a does then you get that sort of like design itch where you're like, no, there's no, I'm the boss, I'm gonna do what I want with this project? Do you how do you because you spend so much time meeting those expectations of clients or whatever, how do you express that for
I
yourself with
do.
no rules?
So every week I do a lunchtime design project. One of them, like the last three or four, became T-shirts that I made for myself. I make designs and I make stickers out of them. I build board games just to build board games sometimes. Like I recreated the historic Viking game of Hafnaftafel, or commonly Tafel. So I recreated that entire game, made a version of it on the Game Crafter, and I have it here. I'm always making something for myself just to keep my mind active, especially at my 9 to 5, which is not very creatively inspiring. Um,
Yeah,
I have to keep my mind going. But that's also why I take a lot of freelance projects because every new game is just a new world to build and work into.
yeah.
So,
Awesome. All right, well, I think I have asked you all the questions that I intended to ask, so I'll end with, uh if someone wants to buy can they get a version of the stickers or the layouts? Like if they want to hire you, like where do you exist in the internet space that people can contact you about your work and putting themselves at the end of your to-do list?
so I'm very easily found on Twitter. I'm under my own name. I'm just actually trying to open Twitter so I can give you guys the exact thing, and it's just not working right now. Where is it?
I'm so
Profile.
shocked, Twitter not working.
Yeah, yeah. So you can find me at M Bonnici, Bonnici graphic on Twitter. Um, if you search my full name, you can find my resume and portfolio through the Adobe portfolio, my portfolios, and um, I'm generally pretty easy to find in that regard. Um, those are two ways best to get a hold of me.
Awesome.
Those two sites. I don't do Facebook often.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Hey, you gotta point all it's actually maybe better to have fewer things to name. I don't know. Then there's less ways to get for people to get lost. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks so much for your time today and talking about your work a little bit, just kind of getting an introduction to you. We'll have to have you back on to talk about Zero Day War later this year, probably. But this little as a introduction to Matthias and graphic design, it's been great. Uh, anything, any parting words you have for any watchers to this video?
Um, uh, Back Psychic Kids. It's a really good, fun rules lights game. I'm looking forward to getting into it and really filling out the rest of the role playing, the RPG, and just getting to your guys' hands.
Awesome. Thank
Uh,
you so much.
yeah, thank you.